This one's for anyone interested in wholesaling real estate, wanting to know what it's like to make $31,000, how exactly to do that in a short amount of time, and do it 10 times within a year and a half to be able to quit your job. Today, I interviewed Ben Jensen, who just finished closing a $31,000 deal. He's in the car, in the parking lot after closing at the title company when we interview him. So everything is fresh on his mind, and he's going to focus on beginner tips to help get you there as well. My name's David Lecco, and I'm the host of the DealMachine podcast, where we talk about replacing your W-2 income through wholesaling real estate, a strategy where you can make big finder's fees for finding a rundown house and passing it to an investor who will buy it cash and pay you that finder's fee. I actually created a process that's helped people close 10,000 deals in all 50 states with the platform called DealMachine that I created for wholesaling real estate. How much was that wholesale deal that you just closed?
So the first one, so it's a two-part. I've never done a deal like this. It's crazy. I need to make like a YouTube video or something. The first wholesale deal was like 32, I think, or 31. And then she wanted to pay that next house they're buying cash off. And she's like, can you help us do that? So I found her a house on the market that needed a little, like they wanted this one. They sent it to me. And I called the agent and got it under contract for like 22 grand less. So basically we made 22 on one deal, wholesaling it to the seller on the other deal. So it was like 31 and like 22, I think.
Yeah, well,
nice.
Okay, just to simplify, how did you make the $31,000? You know, for somebody that never did a deal.
So we actually had that one from a Google ad, which is definitely hotter leads whenever you can start paying for that. But got it under contract at 148, and then we had a buyer that we assigned it to at 177. So I'm probably doing my math wrong. It might not even be, I don't know, 20 something, 30.
Got it. Okay, so you put Google ads, and you were putting display ads that show up when people search for like how to sell my house fast. You were like an ad that was showing up at the top of the results, right? Those are typically sponsored ads.
Yep, it was PPC, so pay per click. So we spend a certain amount every month, and then they inquire on our Google, site.
Yeah, how much does it cost per click? Would you say?
The more, I guess, depends on the area. So we do a lot in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, really all of Texas. We do deals, but I think per click is probably like where our conversion's like 150-ish for those markets. Obviously, if you go into a smaller area, it's going to be more rural with probably less buyers, but it'll be cheaper.
Okay.
And Houston and Dallas, I think we're seeing like 150.
Got it. And how many? Yeah, 150 per click. And how many of those clicks end up being a deal, would you say?
I should probably go look at what the click conversion is, but I know about we've only been doing it for about 2 months. We had Facebook ads before, and we do a lot of GAV deals and everything else, but about 1 in 13 leads that like forms that come in, we're closing.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so you're spending under $2,000 in marketing to get a deal.
Probably like 3 if I
3,000. Okay.
And again, we're a little bit new, so we've done 4 deals, and again, it helped 2 of them were out of the same seller, so that I don't know if that even counts from the same marketing, but yeah, 4 deals that we've been doing, and it's like 54 leads or 53 that have came in. So it's probably 1 in 17 or so we've done in 2 months.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. So where does it go when they click the link? Do you have a website that just lets them put information in?
Yeah, they fill out. We had someone, we use like an agency. I didn't have time to really go learn all of it, but they did a landing page, or it's an actual website. So they click on it and they fill out the form.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. It shows our reviews and, everything else.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's very cool, man. So you've kind of turned $3,000 into $31,000. You did some work as well, going to the appointment, talking with the seller.
This is all over the phone.
Oh, you didn't even go to the house. Interesting.
Wow. No, I've never seen this house. We had someone go take pictures, but
what? Okay, got it. Yeah, so you had somebody go take photos. I mean, that could have probably been $100 or less, right? To go do that.
Yes, it was. Trying to think who we sent over there. I honestly think it was like a bot. We actually got it assigned. I think it was maybe my brother. Oh no, my brother did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. So I guess we did go over to the house. I just
So you just finished this closing, right? So did the seller come to the closing as well? I know you're sitting in the parking lot.
Yeah. So they live in that house in Dallas, and they're moving to the one that we helped them get in Houston. So they did a mobile notary. So we had someone go out to their house to sign. Yeah. And we signed a title. The only reason we had to sign was because we did a double closing on the second deal. For a wholesale, we didn't have to sign for the wholesale one. That buyer came in and signed.
Okay. Got so the buyer came to the same place as you are now, right? To go sign. Who was that person? How'd you find them?
We have large network using Investor Lift and all these other sources.
Well, yeah. But how'd you find you're just starting out? You said, right? So how did you get that large thing? That large lift for buyers.
We've been doing a wholesale full time for a year now. So we got Investor Lift,
which is a software platform, right? That gives you you're buying access to a buyer's list for $3,000 a month or something like that, right?
Yeah, essentially it depends what level you want.
Yeah. How did you do it back in the day? How did you start?
When you first starting? Yeah, I never had any buyers starting out for probably the first 8 months. I just knew how to go find and close deals, and then I met a guy at a networking event that's was a nice connection. He's did strictly disposition for the most part. He did wholesaling starting out, but he has a ton of buyers, so I would partner with him on every deal. So I'd get under contract, kind of just use him as a part of our team, which is funny because we do this now with other new wholesalers. But I'd send him the pictures, the deal. He would get the highest price, and he'd take 30% of the fee, and I would take 70%. So we would just split with him. He would find the buyer for us.
Okay, got it.
And he only took 30%, so it wasn't really 50-50 JV. That's
how it was starting out.
Commonly.
Yeah, I would say that is not very common, but we send them every deal, so that's why we're able to get 30.
That's good. How many deals are you guys getting now on average per month?
Probably we dealt with a lot of foreclosures for the most part of that first year before we started branching out our marketing. And that's where we could probably get into, how much we use DealMachine, but a lot of foreclosures. And I'd say now we get 6 to 10 deals under contract a month. Foreclosures fall out almost half the time just because they're kind of crazy. But this month I closed on probably 7 deals. So it was a pretty big month, but it's just trying to get more consistent. I'd say 6 to 10.
How did you first hear about wholesaling? What drove you to doing wholesaling?
Yeah, I had probably heard of it, through the rabbit hole of social media 3 years ago. I was in college. I went to University of Oklahoma, my brother and he's 2 years older, and I was finishing graduating or about to graduate. So I had a year left and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I had an internship lined up for a 9-to-5 job. And last minute, I found wholesaling online. I found sales. I got recruited to actually go sell door to door my summer before my senior year. So I wanted to get into real estate. I read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all that. And that's what led me to find it. But I went and sold security systems for a summer before my senior year to go buy my first rental. It was from a guy that recruited me that was, big into real estate, and killed it. Finished the summer as one of the top reps and came back and bought an Airbnb my senior year of college. And then we switched to solar. So I was doing door to door when I graduated, selling solar, did really well with that. And I just wanted to dive more into real estate. So I found, Pace Morby, all these other big dudes, joined some of those mentorships. And during the off season, I guess you could call it, of solar, I just started knocking pre-foreclosure houses. That's when I ran into y'all stuff.
Nice.
And knocking pre-foreclosures is how I started.
Ben, you said your brother's in there closing, his own deals. Why is he leaving you out like that?
No, I should have actually missaid all of that. The truth is, we were both in there signing, and then we left to go drive home, and then this notification popped up. I had it set for yesterday, but yesterday was hectic, and just popped up on my phone. I was like, oh, shoot. So I ran back in the car. So he's actually getting lunch. And I got back in the car to do this, but we weren't back at our apartment yet because we had back-to-back. I thought I was going to be back.
Are you guys business partners?
Yep. Yeah, the first year. So I got him. He was doing a 9-to-5 job. When I finished solar, I was trying to get him into sales. And I was like, hey, I think we should look into this wholesale thing, because I started getting a couple deals from knocking. And so I brought him into a community that we're in Texas, and we joined it together. And then he quickly got 2 big deals, driving for dollars from, using stuff like DealMachine and then cold calling. So he made like 150 grand his first 2 months because he got $100,000 deal driving for dollars.
Dang. Well, where's that guy?
I wanted to get him in. I completely goofed on the timing because I thought I was closing at only 10:30 and we had to do the other one at 11, so I didn't get back in time. But
it's all good. It's all good. I'm just teasing.
He's ordering me food. But
good man. Good man. DealMachine listeners, I'm wearing my turtleneck not because it's Steve Jobs' birthday, not because Apple just announced they're integrating AI into their phones. Nope, none of that. It's because we're coming up on DealMachine Unveiled, which is our special live presentation where we're unveiling the latest innovation in real estate technology. Last November, we had an Unveiled event, and we broke down the house with unlimited skip tracing, which also improved with our private investigator tool the accuracy of your skip tracing results by 50%, meaning if you don't get data, you can actually see every person with that homeowner's name all in one spot, in one place. There's no other place you can get that. So come July 1st, reserve your spot, get notified, be among the first to see what's coming next for the real estate industry. The URL, by the way, is DealMachine.com/unveiled. Hey, man, congratulations on all your success. I'm really inspired, actually, by the story. How has the way you look for properties now changed from when you first started out, right? I guess you guys went driving for dollars when you first started out, which means you look for a rundown house, and then you knock on their door or send a postcard or call them, right?
Right. So it's definitely changed. I'd say that's the best way to get started, things that don't cost any money. I think that's the hardest part. And why guys, that was easy to recruit for like door to doors. You don't have to pay anything, you'll get started. So if you're wholesaling, you don't have, a bunch of money to market or get lists or pay for ads. You should just be knocking, in my opinion, foreclosures or driving for dollars, maybe calling, lists that are easy to get. But driving for dollars, I think, is one of the greatest ways. It just takes time. So we were doing that. So I was knocking. All I've ever done was knock doors. So that's what I did.
Let's compare it to $3,000 you spent on paid marketing to get your latest deal. How much did it cost to do that through driving for dollars when you first started out, would you say?
Nothing for cost, but obviously just time and mental capacity. But I think driving for, if you're just using DealMachine, it's just the cost of, whatever you're paying monthly. So we would drive around, and we usually did it as we knocked pre-foreclosure. So we hit a niche list that we get from the county site. And I know exactly what I'm going to say. These people have a timeline, but while I'm doing that, I'm going to add every distressed property on DealMachine, either if I'm with someone knocking, I'll do it on my phone and in the driver's seat, or if I'm driving, I might just stop and add it to the list. So you can kind of couple both. That way you're getting, a deal that has a timeline that's probably more urgent versus like, I'm going to add all of these distressed properties and go back and call them.
Well, what are you going to do with all the money?
From what deal? Is that this one, or are you just talking about driving for dollars?
All of them.
We invest back in the business, but also just buying properties. I probably wish I would have gone about it a little bit differently. I've purchased, I think, like 12 units in the last year. We do a lot of subject to and seller finance. So, like, for example, that deal today, we have a flip closing, 3 wholesale deals, but I also bought a house at a 0% interest rate, seller finance. So put it back into buying assets as much as I can within reason.
Okay, that's pretty good. That seems like that'll grow your wealth a lot. When do you think you'll splurge on yourself and get yourself a Gucci bag?
Definitely not very materialistic. This is the most materialistic thing I have. That's probably my dumbest purchase, just a Tesla.
Oh, that seems smart.
Yeah, maybe. I guess if you're driving around a lot.
Are you? It looks like you drive a lot.
I was starting out until I got too busy to only knock doors.
Okay. Got it. That's really cool, man. What advice would you give to somebody who is just starting out and they're struggling to get their first deal?
I would say biggest thing is like a network. I get these texts all the time, and reach out on social media. And so we've kind of created our own little community to help people get started. But
Oh, really? What's it called?
so we do REI Closers is what I do with my podcast, our little brand, real estate investing closers. And then we just started a free like school community. It's just called Wholesale Real Estate. We kept it super basic. So if you look up Wholesale Real Estate on Skool, you'll see the free community, and we kind of show people the most basic way to get started.
Okay. That's SCHOOL.
No, it's the one that Hormozy's, advertising like crazy. I think he's the owner, and it's SKOOL.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Makes sense because it's school where you learn stuff, but it's spelled wrong.
Yep.
Got it. I'll remember that. All right. So what else do we got to cover here? What would be important to share with people listening again who are just really trying to get their first deal, but they're just not sure where to start. They can go to your Skool wholesale real estate listing. Very good job locking that down. So they should find that pretty easily, right?
Yep. I'd say just know that the first deal is going to be the hardest one. I think a lot of people try for 2 weeks, maybe a week. We saw this all the time recruiting guys knocking doors. It's not going to be easy on the first one unless you have a bunch of capital, but you got to learn how to, underwrite deals, what is a deal, how to negotiate. So just putting in the hours to go get that first one, whether it's door knocking or driving for dollars.
Yeah.
If you get 30,000, you got a nice little cushion now to either reinvest it or use that momentum to keep going.
Well, let's break down just quick tips, right? What's your quick tips for underwriting a deal?
It depends on the market you're in. So I think one of the biggest tips to go back to people starting is go to a meetup, find a mentor. Everyone talks about that, but you got to find someone that can help. Like I would have never got my first deal if I didn't have someone that could have closed it. I just found the lead and I was confident because I knew I could bring it to someone that would close it. But underwriting, you just figure out the market a little bit. I generally in Texas know if I get a deal at 70% of the retail value minus repairs, I'm going to find a buyer at 75 to 80% just because that's Texas market. But I'd probably start lower, especially if you're in other areas that, might not be as hot of a market. So, I mean, if you want it the most basic, simple way, you could just take half the Zillow number that you see online. Just don't let people confuse it too much. But I take 70% minus, 70% of ARV minus repairs.
Got it.
Why do you take half of the Zillow number? Why only half?
I mean, I'd probably go half and then repairs, but I'm just thinking for a lot of people in different areas, Texas, you can't see what houses are. It's a non-disclosure state, but in a lot of other areas, I think if you have a Zillow number, that's not always super accurate, but if you're getting half the value, you're probably going to be able to find a buyer at a higher price.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because generally that's about 70% minus repairs is probably about 50% of the.
Great question, Ryan. Yeah, and it helps you be a little more conservative too, right? Which is only going to add to the profit that you could make and protect you from unexpected things, which always seem to happen with these kind of deals.
And not over-promising to a homeowner, obviously.
All right, last thing, because you mentioned negotiating. What's your quick tip on negotiating?
Not being a motivated buyer, like using pullbacks. I think everyone acts like they want to buy every house and, that it fits their criteria. If you're immediately pulled back and like, hey, most of the houses that we're buying right now, or most of the houses that come across to us, like don't fit our criteria. So if it doesn't make sense, we'll just point in another direction. And, if it does, we'd love to purchase it. We can do it quickly, but just given the market, like interest rates increasing, like using that pullback and that you're not trying to buy every house, using confidence that you buy a lot of houses gives them like, hey, this guy's a real deal. The number he gives me is going to be legit.
Yeah. Well, what if you don't buy a lot of houses? I mean, you can't say that, right? I mean, that's lying.
Say your partners do. I mean, if you're wholesaling and you go to a network or your partners are the ones that are, helping you out, it's like, hey, like I work with a team that purchases a ton of houses in this area.
And when you go get a network, you just mean show up to a meetup and get a business card. Now you have a network.
Exactly. Or join our network, or join a Facebook group, or, find someone that's doing deals.
Love it. Great tips. So, all right, Ben, you have social media where people could follow you if they want to learn more negotiating hot tips?
Yeah, I do. Everything is benjensen.rei. So BENJENSEN.
Yeah.
REI. And then we're trying to get bigger on social media. I have someone that helps me out with it, but YouTube is REI Closers. We have an Instagram page for it too, and then we have the Skool. That's wholesale real estate. We'll have an REI Closers group here soon too.
Hey, that's great. Hey, what's your favorite feature of that Tesla, by the way?
I'll
tell you.
I know I like taking off in it. It's fast, but I think things I take for granted, just like the camera when you're switching lanes. I don't have to ever. You put the blinker on and you just see the camera on the screen.
Right. That is nice.
Blind spot.
Yeah, it eliminates the blind spot. So, yeah, mine is if you bring up DealMachine on that giant screen of there that you got, you could actually get every person's phone number in the whole country, including your DealMachine plan. So you just open a house, see who the owner is, even the renter, actually, their phone numbers and income levels, et cetera. And if you find a house where it doesn't show the owner, there's a magnifying glass. You click that, and it'll show you every person with that owner's name in the entire country and their contact info, of course. So basically, there's not a single person you can't get the phone number from if you pull up DealMachine on your Tesla screen or any screen, really.
You need to email Elon and see if you can make stuff pop up while you're driving. That's the biggest problem.
Well, here's the thing. I have Elon's phone number. Okay, so the way it works, you could, if you pulled up his house, then you'd be able to find it. So it shows you the phone number based on the house that you pull up.
Yeah, that would be sweet. The $100,000 DealMachine man is walking in with barbecue.
Oh, he is. Okay, great. Hey, great ending. Tell him we need to do our own podcast episode. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Ben. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me.
And congrats to your bro on the $150K deal.
$100,000 deal, driving for dollars.
$100,000. Okay, sorry, I overinflated it.
He just corrected me and said 2. He got one later in the year, I think, with foreclosures.
I like it. I would love to do a podcast with him, but we'll let you eat barbecue now. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.